What's good, folks? Your man CJ tapping in with my theorist to cover Cali's finest. Larry has been on a heater throughout the 2020s, but our real June fans out there know he's been productive and prolific for the better part of 2 decades. For this list, we won't be counting any tapes he has with other rappers, shout out to That Life is Beautiful, and no mixtapes. Everything else is fair game. Let's get it. Number 19, Cali Grown 2. In the interest of saving time, I'ma just keep it a buck. Unless you're like us and you enjoy doing deep dives into artists' catalogs, there's no reason to check for this one. Sample flips, luxurious quotes, and lifestyle gems are nowhere to be found. Well, he did flip Love TKO, but let's just say it didn't do nearly enough to salvage the project. Want to get a general feel for how good a Larry June album is going to be? Check the cover. If the car looks affordable and the location looks like something you could recreate on your lunch break, chances are he wasn't in his bag yet. Averaging the 2 projects out song for song, we'd actually give this album a slight edge over its predecessor. Its ranking on this list reflects his inability to reach the heights the first Cali Grown closed out on. That being said, the difference in intros between the High Class and One Day was like going from borderline out of the league to a candidate for most improved player. If only the rest of the album kept the ball rolling. Number 18, Cali Grown. Ever wonder what early Wiz would have sounded like if he popped on the West Coast? Look no further. If you're into that stoner wave of rap that took over airways and playlists during the early 2010s, tap in with Swishers, Rollin', and Trap Phone. Again, if you're expecting the vibes we get when June links with Alchemist, or the shit talking you'll get on the Cardo tapes, this part of the ranking isn't for you. The album isn't a complete wash though. Tropics, Peep Game, and Now all gradually incorporate the elements of Larry's game we've come to appreciate over the years. Even though the highlights are relatively limited, there is an eye-opening revelation to be had listening to this album. Larry June is an internet rapper through and through, the kind that would have cracked a XXL freshman list with Big Sean, Wiz, or Cole. We think this is what Kendrick and Joe Budden were getting at in their critiques of Drake's music. If you tap in with June's more recent material, you would think he's closer in age to Currency or 2 Chainz, when in reality his peer groups include Tyler the Creator, Vince Staples, and Isaiah Rashad. That's growth. Your material as a 35-year-old should mirror what you were putting out as a 23-year-old. One spin of the Cali Grown albums will deepen your appreciation for how far June has come. Number 17, Early Bird. You've got to tap in with this mixtape run to truly get what we mean when we say this. But if the song got Deer in the title, just know June about to pull out all the stops. Early Bird being this far down the ranking is a testament to June's growth as an artist. The album isn't bad, but in a catalog approaching 20 entries, it is forgettable. As far as the titular Larry tracks go, this album sports one of his best. Strippers and Blues got a different bounce to it. Speaking of bounce, if we had to pick a diamond in the rough off the track list, it'd be Booty Girl Club, no question. For the record, we think they could have done more with that Groove With You flip. Isn't it funny how hit or miss a feature can be? Tapping Primo Rice 5 years before he would get some traction was a bit prophetic. Yes, we're well aware of their working history together. That I Am Sue feature though, that joint was about 5 years too late. Last but not least, make sure you catch the uncredited Currency verse On My Way. Always a gem when Spitter and June link up. Number 16, Sock It To Me Part 2. This album's placement is a bit bittersweet. As far as albums go, chronologically, this is his first major leap in production. He worked with talented producers behind the board, but nobody on Sledrin's level, not for a whole tape. Unfortunately, Larry thrives making drop the top music, while Sleddy is at his best making drop the op type beats. Don't believe me? Go listen to Gunman and tell me these beats aren't better suited for a Maxo Cream, 21 Savage, Young Nudie archetype. What's even worse is Sled would improve upon his formula, team up with Cardo and Wiz Khalifa before rolling out Wiz Got Wings, a collection of beats that June would have absolutely slid on. Now, Ocean Beach is a cooler vibe, while Off the Backboard would be a solid addition to anyone's gym playlist. Our biggest takeaway has us questioning how we got a Larry June 2 Chainz Alchemist collab before June, Currency, and Alchemist. Don't get me wrong, as of this recording, Life is Beautiful is easily a top 10 album of the year. But as far as we can tell, Titty Boy hadn't been in the studio with Alk before they cooked up this album. Meanwhile, Larry and Currency each have collab albums with Alk, as well as extensive collab history between the 2 luxury rap titans. Feels like just a matter of time. In the meantime and in between time, can we get 2 Chainz Alchemist collab project? Not sure if he leaned more into the June vibes or Blvd vibes, but either way, we're here for it. Number 15, Cruise USA. For those of you who didn't spend a lot of time in the Bay, Cruise USA might be a bit jarring sonically. After that adjustment period though, we're sure you're going to love the direction June and Cardo chose to pursue. Organic Love, Rolex Truffles, and Still Learning are a few of standouts that you can roll and vibe to, but we still haven't hit that pocket of albums that ushered in June's emergence. Keep in mind, outside of singles and album cuts, June and Cardo have 4 projects together. The difference between this joint and Into the Late Night is marginal at best. They really got some logistics figured out for that night shift though, as you'll see by its placement later on. Number 14, The Port of San Francisco. Album cover check. The whips are getting more expensive. Now we just gotta wait for the scenery to catch up. Larry's confidence on this record jumps off the beat starting with Cold Summer. Always Want More sees producer Sean House flipping Let's Start Over by Miles J. If we're keeping it a stack, Nas and Victoria Monet did it better with their 2012s You Wouldn't Understand. Dear John low-key makes me want to walk back that earlier statement about his Dear tracks. This one just doesn't have the same weight to it. He was losing momentum until we hit Diamond Heights, where he would go on to close out the album strong, particularly 1987 Vet and Organic Dreams. At this point in his journey, he has more or less mastered his aesthetic, grown comfortable with his production and delivery, and firmly carved out a niche that feels unique to his brand. Areas that still need improvement? His features have yet to consistently contribute, and although he's grown more comfortable with his sound, the producers that he would work with in the 20s would elevate his game to another level. Number 13, Into the Late Night. One of the biggest perks of being an industry elite is that artists seek you out for the standard you set for yourself. The drawback with that lies in the fact that you can't have any off days, or in this case, off beats. Friday Activities is a solid track, but before we heard Bigger Risk, we were convinced Cardo's heart wasn't in this project. Limited song selection almost inherently comes with the exception of 0 skips. We're gonna die on that hill. If there was a way to close out a 7-song album though, Saturday Night Interview would definitely be the way to do it. Red Book Chronicles will also get your day off to a good start, just don't ask for the project to do any more heavy lifting. Number 12, Very Peaceful. This album holds a special place in our hearts. You have to understand, in real time hearing Larry go from Cali Grown 2 to Very Peaceful was like hearing Ross go from Triller to Deeper Than Rap. Luckily, hindsight is more forgiving. Still, it's clear June's time on the EP and mixtape circuit was beneficial for artists and audience alike. Sausalito, Organic Polyseeds, and Mojito Music throw all those in the gallery. Then get ready for the real heavy hitter. Number 11, Until Night Comes. When you make the kind of music that Larry makes, prolific output and consistent material, you'll more than likely pass a threshold of memorability. Yeah, you'll sprinkle in a classic or two for sure, but the benchmark of success for the majority of your projects isn't going to be classic or bust. It'll simply be whether or not the record will be remembered 6 months later. Whether it's living in the shadow of Life is Beautiful, coinciding with the Clip's comeback album, or some combo of factors in between, Until Night Comes fails to clear the bar of the Larry litmus test. Does this album slap like The Night Shift? No, it does not. Did Larry and Cardo do everything they could to make up the difference? No, they did not. We know that Don Toliver feature wasn't cheap. Knowing the Cardo collab tape was going to rely heavily on that summertime rotation boost, why wasn't 100 Bags the album's lead single? Cardo has a sonic comfort zone for sure, but it's almost no variation in these beats. If you told us Until Night Comes was a compilation of unused material, it really wouldn't be that surprising. Above all, in comparing this one to their previous work, the features do next to nothing for the flow of the album. I'll explain further when I get to Mr. Midnight and The Night Shift, but E40, Wiz Khalifa, and Payroll deliver their usual quality of work, just not sure if that's what the project called for. Now, before we get into this top 10, just a little food for thought. Let's get 100 comments and we'll drop our Good Job Larry playlist. It's got all the essentials the streams are going to overlook with curation only the culturalists can fully appreciate. Now, it would also be a good time to make sure you're tapped in with what we got popping on YouTube, as well as our exclusive content on Patreon, and the discussions taking place in the Discord. Links are easily accessible in the description. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Number 10, Keep Going. Harry Fraud in many ways fills in the role of a poor man's alchemist, respectfully. It sounds extremely dismissive, but hear me out. His sampling proficiency and sequencing is miles ahead of 80% of the industry, putting him in a percentile most producers could only dream of achieving. But a tape like Keep Going does just as much to showcase Harry's strengths as it does his weaknesses. We'd be lying if we said June spent the 3 summers in between this release and The Great Escape sharpening his skills as an MC. But the final product would have you thinking that our boy Larry was up for Best Rap Album the way he kept gravitating to album cuts. From track 6 to 10, June and Fraud didn't miss. but at no point in the first half of the project did we think of the duo as a cohesive 1-2 punch. Number 9, Out the Trunk. The gap between mediocre and masterful can be razor thin. In terms of a Larry June ranking, that line is the spot between Keep Going and Out the Trunk. We get the first of many collaborations between June and Bay Area staples Herm Lewis, resume builders like Mission Bay, Mason Cafe, and SLS 30 Days, not to mention his biggest hit to date with Smoothies in 1991. For those of you who tapped in with this Tiny Desk concert, you would know that set list was essentially just a handful of songs off this album. This is us officially starting the petition for a second appearance. He's dropped the majority of his best work since that one aired. Usually an album barely scratching the top 10 of any given list is a bad thing. Safe to say Out the Trunk is an exception to the rule. Yeah, it's up from here, but the fact that he has 8 entries that are better is truly astounding. Good job, Larry. Number 8, Adjust to the Game. It's clear that from the Cali-grown installments to his 8th studio album, Larry just wasn't adjusting to the game, he was shifting the soundscape to his play style. He's got the messaging with You Can Get Rich and Financial Freedom. He's got melodic bangers with Till Next Time Love and Summer Snow, but at least 75% of this album's placement rests on the shoulders of Watering My Plants. The Everybody Loves the Sunshine sample is damn near impossible to fumble. It's also hard to find a better match with the laid-back and mindful vibes June brings to the studio. With the aforementioned bangers in rotation, it's easy for heaters to get lost in the shuffle. Don't Let match up with Harry go unnoticed, Real Conway and Primo Nothing Less vibes. Even the outro shows Larry blending the drums with the player presentation we saw him struggling with just a few years prior. Once these features get ironed out, it'll be no stopping him. Like when Braun added that fadeaway to his bag. Number 7, Product of the Dope Game. All the critiques we hurled at Fraud, they don't apply to Calculated Risk. That was Harold, not Harry. Okay. All jokes aside, the way June kicked off Product of the Dope Game was indicative of a more cerebral and grounded approach to his fan base. His 2019 run could have and should have been one for the record books. If he condensed his best work from across the 5 projects into 2 or 3 albums, that's a multi-classic year run on par with 2017 Future, 98 DMX for our OGs in the back. Regardless, he still blessed us with Gotta Step It Up, Something Gotta Change, Numbers Don't Lie. This iteration of Larry is all about results. On Organic Tears, we get a vulnerable side of June that we haven't heard replicated anywhere else in his catalog. Gotta show some love to the OJs, whose 1972 record Who I Am would be the sample inspiration for Organic Tears. Fans of Nip can also hear that he flipped it on All Get Right. Other notable MCs to use the beat? AZ, Royce, and the Diplomats, among others. In a body of work as inspirational and intentional as June's, if consistent doesn't make you lock into your higher self, I don't know what to tell you. Number 6, The Night Shift. Friendly competition has always helped to facilitate growth, especially in a sport like hip-hop. If you ask us, Cardo had what Larry and Out cooked up on The Great Escape and got inspired to roll out their own cohesive collab. Coming in at 17 tracks, The Night Shift has more songs than their previous 2 credited collabs combined, with more heaters to match. You don't need to be riding down PCH taking in views of the coast to glide to Pop Out with Schoolboy. Ahem, we need a Schoolboy Got Wings tape too. Ocean Cuisine sees Larry and 2 Chainz doubling down on chemistry established a year prior. That's chess-like strategy and laying the groundwork for Life is Beautiful. Can't forget the vibes in the air when you throw on Chops on the Blade. After TGE, we thought Larry's feature woes were a thing of the past, but old habits die hard. There were too many on this project, with most being an uneven return on investment. Probably the most surprising takeaway from the tape was how poorly utilized that Days Low feature was. Shawty brings the slaps on whoever's track she graces. This interpretation of Tyrese's Sweet Lady just felt like an emergency break for the album's momentum though. Take note, Alchemist's production style gave Larry a gritty, somewhat coarse backdrop to spit over. Cardo and The Night Shift balanced that with smooth West Coast bounce, leaving 2023 Larry with the best of both worlds. Alright guys, we're in the home stretch, the highly coveted top 5. Theorists, run up 250 likes on this video if you want that Larry June mixtape ranking. There's plenty of material there too. You don't just listen to music, it shapes you. That vibe, that energy, that voice. Our Raised Me merch, it's all about honoring the albums that built the culture that built you. 8 legendary albums on every piece. A nod to the past, a flex for the future. Ready to rep your roots? Cop now at shop.culturalisttheory.com. Number 5, Mr. Midnight. If Larry don't do nothing else, he's gonna float on an Isley sample. Emphasizing his newly developed versatility, the titular opening is one of many gems to take away from June's third LP of the year. Mind you, this dropped at the end of June. As crazy as that is, it might be even crazier that this was the first collab project June and Cardo cranked out, and it's the best of the four, no question. Obviously, we're not including game related with Payroll Giovanni and HBK Kid, but Mr. Midnight's blend of smooth production, concise delivery, and seamless transitions gives it the impact of the night shift with the brevity of Cruise USA or Into the Late Night. This project was so smooth that it most likely inspired Wiz to make Wiz Got Wings. His album cover definitely got Larry beat though. Tapping Sledgerin as well was calculated, shows the difference in experience. Wiz knows how to balance the lanes better. Orange on the Jet add another notch to the storied history of Larry and Currency. As far as we can tell, they've been on over 15 songs together with producers ranging from Cardo and Alchemist to Harry Fraud and Traumatone. Just drop the tape already, man, y'all ain't fooling nobody. Number 4, Orange Print. Ask any OG Larry fan or his Wikipedia page, they'll boil June's contributions down to 3 major projects: Orange Print, Spaceships on the Blade, and The Great Escape. Of that illustrious big 3, we would compare Orange Print to Chris Bosh. Still first ballot Hall of Fame production, clearly his breakout project, but overlooked nonetheless. The leap from Keep Going to Orange Print truly is equivalent to going from a productive role player to a bona fide superstar. To start the album off, we get the 3rd installment of Game from Uncle Herm, before that bass from Tangible Assets kicks in. Yeah, we hit the replay button about 4 times on that joint. A little dip in the mainstream with Wait On Me before more dividend talk with 6 AM and Sausalito, and some ear-grabbing production on Intercepted featuring Money Man. I don't know what it is about the June and Dage link-ups that isn't clicking, but this is the only song we ain't keeping off the project. Also, shout out to Larry linking up with Lone Star legend Trader Truth. Nah, they weren't in Ibiza. His sample game clearly went up a notch as well, flipping Lil Beaver's Get Into the Party Life. June saw the vision Hove laid out when he used the same sample on American Gangster's album. Just wish he followed the source material a little more closely. Point is, there's a reason this was his first project to chart. If it wasn't for his next album, Orange Print definitely would have secured the bronze. Number 3, Doing It For Me. No features, grooves like Stinson Beach, Meet Me in Napa and Imported Couches, and bops like Magnum P.I., 3-Piece, and Like a Mac. The album title couldn't be more accurate. June is in his own lane with blinders on. Only thing missing is production from Harry Fraud and Cardo. Wait, they got that too? No wonder this one edged out Orange Print. By this point, Larry has established both a repeatable formula for success and a deep appreciation for the fundamentals. If you're cleaning your spot, negotiating $1 million deal, or going for a walk, Doing It For Me got something for you. Speaking of cleaning your spot, go check the sample that they pulled. Vintage Patrice Russian with When I Found You, Stolly and Benny the Butcher would sample the same song on Boiler Room, where Larry looped the first half of the song. Stolly and Benny looped the second half. Rare to see songs that get multiple spins like that. Smooth vibes for the ladies, Bay Bounce for the aux, gotta be all classics from this point to get the nod. Number 2, Spaceships on the Blade. Admittedly, this is the album that put June on our radar. Retrospectively, combing through his catalog, we can hear a lot of milestones in it. Planting the seeds for Life is Beautiful with Still Boomin', Alk's first appearance in the Juniverse, expanding project structuring and reimagined feature chemistry. Larry and Sid just make sense. 2 Chainz was basically auditioning while blacking out on Still Boomin', yet Babyface Ray's performance on Extra of 'Em probably sparked mutual interest between Larry and Sean for another San Francisco-Detroit connection. Corte Madera, California flips the same timeless in a sentimental mood sample as Diablo by Mac Miller. I'll let y'all decide who did it better down in the comments. While you're there, dim the lights, get a great smelling candle burning, and spin records like Things You Do, I'll Make Time, and For Tonight, bonus points if you got a partner with you, and a vice of your choice. Okay, scratch that last part. While CT can't endorse the use of any vices, we can definitely put our stamp of approval on Larry's Diner. This that rosé opulence before the Trump crypto ball. Spaceships on a Blade isn't just essential Larry, it's essential hip hop. This is what it sounds like to understand your brand inside and out. Number 1, The Great Escape. Believe it or not, we're about halfway through the 2020s at the time of recording. If you break down all the music that has dropped in that 5-year span, you'll be hard pressed to find an artist as active as Larry or a producer as prolific as The Alchemist. Regardless of whose ranking you're looking at, the top spot is still going to be The Great Escape. Currently on pace for a top 10 album of the decade slot, the duo's debut collab hit Rarefied Air, the instant classic. Well, it hasn't hit the 5-year mark yet, but you get the point. 15 tracks and not a skip in sight. Not even with that lackluster Action Bronson verse on Solid Plan. It's not hyperbole to say 80% of the album should go on his highlight tape, all while being an independent artist. Keep going. Alright CT, it's time to roll the credits. But if you made it this far, good job. Grab yourself a smoothie and make some smart investments with your time, like hitting that subscribe button, or tapping into our Patreon to watch reactions to classics like the aforementioned American Gangster by Jay-Z. Let's make sure this one does numbers. Until the next time, CJ signing off.